Good morning. In the middle of April is a great time to start dealing with your herbs. Sometimes when it's a little bit too early, you can't really tell if they have made it through the winter or not, because you'll see a lot of this really woody kind of growth. And it's a little bit hard to tell if it's frost damaged or if it's just kind of ready to grow but hasn't started again yet. So I wanted to look at a couple different things. We have thyme, we have oregano, we have sage, we have lavender in another bed. But as you can tell here, we've got thyme that's really overgrown. It is kind of like this poor little sage is in the corner, it got shaded by this last year. So I wanted to deal with kind of two different things, just general rules with dealing with herbs in the spring. And then also like if you've got a situation like this, kind of now's the time to deal with it and how to do that. So one thing you can do is we've got to figure out, right, if this is alive or not. You can tell over here that like clearly this is growing because it's green. Over here, this stuff is looking really kind of crispy. But then if I come in here, if it really was dead and I did this, it wouldn't be as pliable. It would probably actually be really crispy and break off. So I'm thinking that that's a good sign that this probably made it through the winter. And then if you look really carefully towards the base of the plant, that's where you can start seeing that there's some new growth closer to the bottom. So it really looks like this plant made it. So that's a good thing. And you can do the same thing with rosemary, with lavender. Those are some too that have a little bit later of a burst of green. So that's kind of a general way to check. The next thing to think about is kind of a rule of thumb for most pruning, whether it's herbs or it's even trees, is you don't want to take off more than a third of the plant at one time. But you do want to take something off because then that helps to make the plant bushier and it promotes new growth. So looking at this thyme, I can, even though some of this is already growing, if you look in here, there's more growth under here. So because there's so much of this, I can go in and estimate about a third, and then clip this off at about a third. And then I can take that and dry it if I want to, or use it in the kitchen. This is really long, so I'm actually going to clip more of that. Just thinking about like kind of the long-term growth of this. And if you look into a lot of these stems, you can see that it is green inside. So that proves again that this is actually living. So I'm going to go through in a minute and do that a little bit more. If you have a plant that really is overtaking something, like this is really starting to overtake the sage, you've got a couple options. One is that you can just take this plant completely out. You could transplant it, since now is a good time to do that. Or even though the rule is to do about a third, if you want to really cut this hard to rejuvenate it and give it space over here, with time, it should be able to survive a really hard cutback. So for that one, I am cutting it back a lot harder, and I'll consider transplanting this to give this oregano right here a little bit more space, and the sage a little bit more space to grow. So I'm going to come back to that in a little bit. The other plant we have here is sage. I really want to get this growing better than it did last year. So this is one where I'm really going to do that 1/3 rule. And I'm going to go down and look for a spot where it's like above a leaf node. And you can see what you find that by seeing where other little leaves are branching off. So I'm going to come in here and just clip that off, and then do the same with all of the others. And so what that does is it stops the growth from going up, and it forces the plant to push the growth out from those new side, or from the side shoots that are already growing. So hopefully when we check back on this, that will be growing better this summer. And then this oregano that's in here, it looks like that plant, like there's a lot of new growth coming out here. And that plant, I think I probably clipped back in the fall. So that one's set to go. So I'm going to take care of the rest of this, and then we'll show you what it looks like once we're done. Okay, so here's our after picture. It's kind of like when you go to the hair salon and ask for a haircut, and you come out and you're not even really sure who you are anymore. So this looks, you know, like a little less lifeless. It looks a little more lifeless than it did before, but it's not going to eventually. So these now are kind of more mounded. If you look inside of what appears to be dead wood, you're seeing a lot of new growth down there. This is going to allow the sunlight to get in and really encourage more growth. And these are going to be nice and mounded come a month or so. So we'll check back. Hopefully that's going to give this sage a little bit more time to grow, or space to grow, as well as the oregano. And if I need to, I'll take kind of these out to give those more space. So thanks for checking in with us today, and I hope that your gardens are getting off to a good start.